Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today I'm sharing a new design team project for Taylor-Made Cards for You. Before we get started, I want to remind you that Taylor-Made Cards for You is sponsoring a monthly challenge over at Crafter's Castle. This month's prize is the Field Notes kit that I'm using for today's project. This kit has a lot of super fun paper and ephemera pieces all centered around the journals that researchers use when they're working out in the field. Now, I did think about making a journal from these, but I really like these insect specimen slides. I thought they would look great in a case and would make for a really perfect masculine card. I'm starting off by fussy cutting out all of the slides. Once that's done, I took a black marker, any would work, but I'm using my Spectrum Noir True Black marker and I'm coloring the edges. A couple of the specimens are beetles, so I'm using some glossy accents to shine up their shells and give them some dimension. I pulled some of the glossy accents onto the beetle's head with a pointed tool. I don't know what it's called, but I'll try to link to something similar in the description below. For the other insects, some butterflies and a dragonfly, I used Wink of Stella to add some shimmer to the wings. Next, I'll be working on the specimen case. I took an A2 size card base and created a frame by cutting a window out of the front panel with a rectangle die. I ran this through my Gemini Junior die cutting machine. Then I cut a matching frame from a piece of wood grain pattern paper that I've got in my stash. I'm also cutting a clear 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel to fill the frame. I'm using a scrap piece of packing material, but you could use acetate or a transparency sheet, whatever you have in your stash. Then I'm going to actually trim it down just slightly smaller so that it'll fit better in that window. To adhere everything together, I'm using a combination of score tape and art glitter glue. I want the acetate window to stay in place. The score tape can do the job on its own, but I almost never get things placed exactly where I want, and the liquid adhesive will give me just a little time to reposition it if needed. So first I'm going to put the score tape down. I'm using 1/8 inch score tape, so I'm using a double layer there, or side-by-side double tape on the window frame. And then I'm going to burnish that down with my bone folder. After removing all of the release paper, I'm running a small amount of liquid adhesive over the sticky surface of the score tape. Then I just lined up the acetate panel with the score line of my card base and smoothed it down. Looks like this time I got the acetate lined up on the first try. So now I'm going to do the same thing on top of that acetate panel. I'm adding a line of score tape all around the frame. Then I removed all of that release paper and added another line of art glitter glue around the edges on top of that sticky part. Then I added the wood grain panel on top, lining up the window and trimming off the excess. Next, I'm creating an easy pop-up mechanism. I took an 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock, and using the first die cut window as a guide, I'm adding some score lines. So I'm adding the score lines at 3/8 inches, 4 1/4, and 4 5/8 inches. I fold the cardstock on each of those score lines and burnish those with my bone folder. Next, I'll add this piece to our card base with the window. I'll take some score tape and adhere it to the edge near the 3/8 inch score line. Then, after removing the release paper, I place the cardstock into the card base, sticky side up. That edge needs to line up with the fold, then you just close the card. To make sure that this mechanism works well, I trimmed off a little bit off of the other end. Now comes the fun part. I took a 4 1/4 by 5.5 piece of black cardstock and added all the bugs that we cut out earlier. I decided to put the beetles in the center and then the butterflies on the outside. And I'm just using my art glitter glue to adhere all of those down. Now that they are all in place, I'll adhere them to the inside of our card. The black panel was a little large, so I did go back and trim off a little of the excess. It's working perfectly, so now I adhere the last panel of the mechanism to the back of the card base. Now you may be wondering, where would you write on this one if you're giving this card out? You can either write on the back or you could adhere this to the front of a regular card base. I decided to keep this finished up pretty simple, and I'm just adding a sticker that I created using my ScanNCut and the ephemera pack from this kit as well, to add special handling to the front and inside of the acetate. I thought that looked just too cool, and I love these stickers. So you see, I made a complete sheet of that. So that finishes up my project for today. Please be sure to check out the other projects from our design team over at Taylormadecards4u. As an added bonus, Monica has generously provided a discount code for you. I'd love to see what you create, so please be sure to shoot me an email at the address listed below. Here are some other videos that you may be interested in. Thank you so much for dropping by, and happy crafting!